All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the season finale of our podcast series. Now, first of all, for those who don't know, I have two podcasts, Certified Corner and Keep It a Stack. Certified Corner is all about personal development and mindset, while Keep It a Stack is about business. Now, while we have my brother here, my brother, Mr. Karlos, this is going to be posted on both channels because I want you guys to understand this is to celebrate 10 episodes total, really 13. This is the 13th episode, 12th, maybe, whatever it is. But the gentleman I have on here today, let's sit back about it. As you guys can see, I'm comfortable today. Like I said before, I'm never somebody who's gonna be super fancy. One day I'll get there, but I want it to be personal for you guys. And somebody who's super personable is Mr. Karlos Joseph. Let's backtrack. I need to backtrack for a second. 3 years ago, I met this man, 2021. I met him through one of my mentees in my business, Stephanie. And Stephanie and Karlos, I met Karlos and Stephanie, and it was all about us doing business. So we're trading together, doing things like that. But in 2022, during COVID, I decided to go on tour during COVID. And I flew out to Philly and did an event with Mr. Karlos in his city. Met his family, saw his home, saw baseball, believer of God. But the one thing I learned about this gentleman, he's a stand-up man. Stand-up man. I looked to him as a brother. And because of his life experience, because of his experience with God, his family, and his purpose. And do not play with this man. He is a traitor. So he makes money in the market as well. Do not disregard. Look past the good looks and the words today. Understand that this man is diving in. He's someone who is super focused and super talented. This is somebody I'll call my brother if I'm down, if I'm bad, if I need a prayer. And actually, this gentleman was the big reason why I got closer to God. I remember our conversation. When I called him, man, I said, bro, what do I need to do to build a better relationship with Jesus Christ?
Wow.
He was the one who encouraged me to read the Bible, download the Bible app. Read one thing a day. Don't rush into the process. Make it natural. Don't make it artificial. Make it a natural process, because the more natural your relationship with him can be, the better your natural life is going to become. And for him, that changed my entire paradigm of how I looked at faith, because I was somebody who was studying Islam. I told him, I was like, hey man, I don't know what God is like right now, because COVID was weird. I couldn't find God through all the chaos of COVID. I couldn't find him. But for whatever reason, on the time on TikTok, Islam was a huge wave. And I bet you he remembers that. All over social media, it was Islam. Nothing wrong with that, but that's just what I saw. So I clung on to what I was seeing, and I started doing research. I bought a Quran. I bought a King James Version Bible. I started just not reading the Bible to build faith, but I read the Bible from a research perspective, from a scientific thing. Looking for if that, then this statements, finding evidence. And that allowed me to get closer. And for a lot of us in the faith world, we all develop faith differently. Mine was more from an academic standpoint, but I couldn't get there until I made my phone call with this man, Karlos. So that should just tell you where this conversation is going to go, but do not falter. He's smart. He's educated. He's well aware of what's happening in the world, but he chooses every day to decide to stay close to God. And he's leading faith when it comes to baseball. He's got his own YouTube channel where he's preaching the faith. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to my brother, Mr. Karlos Joseph. How are you, brother?
Oh man, listen. I am just. I'm gonna say this. I am highly blessed and highly favored, especially grateful to be here with you, my brother. That introduction was, listen, man. Thank you so much. Praiseworthy, bro. I could say a lot of those things the same about you. You're somebody who's definitely impacted me. You're somebody who has been an impact to the community, and just continue to make waves, bro. Very inspiring young man. So listen, man, I'm just gleaning off of you. And, we're going to be learning from each other today. We're going to continue to learn from each other. But I'm very excited to be here, be part of your podcast. And yeah, bro, to get the word out there, spread it. I'm excited because you are a man that can never be always imitated but never duplicated. Mr. AE in the building, you know. So I'm excited to be here, bro. I'm excited. Thank you.
Dude, you're welcome, man. You're welcome. Let's dive right into the conversation, man. I definitely want to put faith towards the end, so we can end it on a very high level note, on that
Yeah,
faith side. So we'll put God towards a little bit towards the end because I know we can go for hours on that. I want to dive into your mindset, bro, as somebody who's in the markets. How do you, with your scheduling now, because you got a busy schedule, dog. Last time we talked,
yeah.
your schedule is filled,
It's
and
booked.
as a man, how do you, what is your technique or what is your strategy with managing a busy schedule while still giving your full effort into your projects? Because you're baseball, you're trading, you're doing this YouTube stuff. So how do you, what's your mindset around how do I manage my schedule so Karlos can show up as his best self?
Oh man, that's a really good question. Oh, we started like that, bro.
Yes, we started like that.
It's
Hey,
like,
I'm not so surface level questions, man. This is we
boy,
going.
sheesh. I love it. I love it. So for me personally, the way that I like to just organize my life is with my iPad. So I can't do anything without this iPad. Like I literally feel naked if I go anywhere without my organizer. I have in my notes, I literally have like I have my life organized down to the T, bro, in notes and journals. So I have obviously my expenses, I have life, I have religion, I have business. It's all different collections, and in each collection there is different notes for different days of the week. And just kind of I'm able to track my journey, because if something we learned in trading is what you track grows, right? So man, I took that very seriously when I heard the David and Benitez of the world say that, the Bryce Thompsons of the world say these things. I'm like, wait, what you track grows. So I need to start tracking my life in a way where I need to track it down to the T, see where my faults are at. Um, and that took a lot. That took a lot, because the first thing that you got to do is assess where you're at.
Mm,
Personally, I had to assess, man, I just don't have it together. I didn't. I like, yo, I gotta do something, because it was a constant vicious cycle of I feel bad, but I'm procrastinating.
mm,
But then I feel bad because I procrastinated.
mm.
So it's like, how can I just put a stop to it? One day I just woke up frustrated. I said, no more. I need to organize myself within, so that then everything on the outside could reflect that. So my journal, bro, my journal is literally my life. I cannot go anywhere without writing every single detail of my life. So there it is.
Hey, it's what's so interesting about journaling everything that goes on. Because I have, matter of fact, I actually have over here my planner, nice little something small. But the way I look at it is I do about an hour. So everything I
Wow.
write down is down by the hour. And what's so cool about this is that in the beginning, I started with something like this, just a
Yes.
regular notebook with regular lines. And I
Yeah.
have stuff in here, notes and running events and stuff like that. But then I learned that's not the best way for my brain to operate. I couldn't
Mm.
operate that way in my brain. And what people, if you miss the whole lesson in that, is you have to self-evaluate yourself, because he was frustrated and then his frustration caused him to procrastinate, but then the procrastination caused him frustration. And so nobody else causes that cycle but you. Like, that's not an outside factor. Oh, my mom, my dad, that's not trauma built. That's you not being able to make a decision built. And so I was frustrated for a long time because I was like, bro, I have these notebooks and I have hella notebooks. I got like 10 over here of
Come
notes and things that I have. Like, I'm flexing notebooks like dollar bills, like the rap.
on.
We got notebooks for
Ah,
days. But
yes, sir.
just because you have a tool doesn't mean the tool is going to automatically build the life you want. You got to know how to utilize the tool properly. And
Come on.
so the fact that your iPad is not just an iPad, it's a tool. It's your life because
My life.
you pour everything into it so you can be able to track it. And with this now that I know everything by the hour, I don't get surprised anymore.
Come
I
on.
don't I don't get surprised when something comes up because I wrote it down. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Okay, we can make adjustments here. And then also, you don't have to feel bad canceling on other people.
Ooh, hey.
You don't have to. And that was my problem, bro. My problem was I felt bad canceling on people. I felt bad telling people no because I forgot that I had already something pre-planned. And so then you're like, oh my God, I forgot about this, or I forgot about this. And now you feel bad because you got to tell somebody because they're now so excited and they have an expectation for you to show up, but you failed to remember something that you wrote down that you notated in here. So now having that journal, it not only is just an organization of life, it allows you to be able to function without feeling bad.
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh. Hey, man, and you said something. Oh, my God. Yo, these are gems on gems, y'all. We better take advantage of this, man. Listen. So, what you're saying is that your people pleasing habits led for you to self reject yourself?
Correct.
Oh, my God. So, the freedom that you're experiencing today within yourself comes from actually leading your life and putting it down on paper.
Correct. 100%. 100%.
Wow.
It changes everything, bro, because you got to think like let's put it like this. I was reading something with Carl Jung. Carl Jung is a philosopher. I've been diving deep into philosophy.
Come on.
And he said that the world moves at the speed on which you look at it.
Yes.
So if you think that the world is moving so fast, everything's happening so fast because you view everything so fast. But he said if you want the world to slow down, focus at one thing at a time at that time. And
Wow.
become consistent on the things that you can consistently be consistent on. So it's like instead of me worrying about, okay, I want to start being consistent in so many different areas and I have to overcommit myself, example, instead of me saying I'm going to go to the gym 4 times a day. That's a great goal. Let's break this down. You want to work out 4 times a week. There's 7 days in a week. Pick 4 days out of that week and become consistent at showing up and arriving those 4 days of the week. And then you can structure your life around what you can commit to willingly. Because we only do things when we feel like doing it. So I had to learn that lesson early, bro, because I was like, oh man, oh yeah, let me go here. Yeah, let me go here. Yeah, I can do this call. Yeah, I can be here. And I overextended myself for others, but then I was under delivering for me. And that so even though I went to bed doing a lot of things, I still felt unfulfilled.
Jesus. You was oh my God. Yo. No. Hold on. Thank God this is recorded. Cause yo, we need this. So you were spreading yourself too thin, and you realized that the way to your freedom is literally putting your life down on paper by the hour. For everybody is different. You know, I like to do it on a daily basis. I like to do it on whatever task I'm handling at the moment, right? But I have to commit to myself because again, the frustration was because I was saying yes to others and no to myself.
Right.
So I couldn't continue in that frustrating cycle of I'm spreading myself thin, but yet there's nothing left at the end of the day for myself. How can I pour onto someone else's cup if my cup is not filled? So it all started with literally writing it down. And the first part of organizing my life literally was journaling to God, bro.
Talk about it. You'd be so surprised, man, how much journaling. Oh God, let's get it. You know what? Journaling to God, bro. I'll tell you, the way that our brains are, we think that we got a lot going on in our heads, but that's because we continue to believe we got a lot going on in our heads. And you'd be
Yes.
surprised the moment you write it down and get whatever's in your head on paper, you'll realize you wasn't really thinking about a lot. You was just you self, what is it called? You self imploded or self
Yeah.
bloated your
Yeah.
own thoughts. You gave
Yes.
your thoughts too much power,
Yes.
or you allowed certain thoughts to expand farther than they needed to go. And
Yes.
so then you have to step back, and when you talk about journaling to God, it's a relief. It's almost like relieving the pressure
Come
in your
on.
mind.
Come on. Bro,
Ugh,
it is, and listen, the Bible is a scripture, is it's a book of principles.
right.
Is I'm telling you to do something because there's universal laws that have an effect because there's a cause.
Mm,
So because you did something, there is something that's gonna follow. So there's already universal laws that have been put into place that if we do not follow them, or if we do follow them, they're going to lead to a result. The word says, the word says, pray for the mind of Christ. Pray that you have the mind of Christ so that you can capture every thought that exalts itself above the knowledge of God.
ooh, wait. Okay. wait, because that's crazy to think. Okay, say it again. Say it again. Because it was so crazy, bro. The word that you just gave, when I pray to God, bro, you know the only thing I pray for when I talk to God? Wisdom. I don't want nothing else from you. Give me wisdom to make the right decisions when the time is right. That's all I ask for. So the fact that your word is, say it again. Say it again, bro, because that just lines up perfectly. Wait. Now, okay, say it again. Okay, well,
Listen,
where can we find that scripture? Is it like what book?
bro, that's in Philippians. That's in Philippians, and I believe that's also in Corinthians. But
Corinthians. Okay.
it's the mind of Christ, which captures captive every thought, right? You make every thought subject to the mind of Christ, to any thought that tries to exalt itself above the knowledge of God.
Right.
Listen, this is all mind stuff. We're not casting the thoughts out. We are holding it captive
Mm.
and putting the knowledge of Christ above, meaning that of wisdom, that is good, that leads to life. Those things that give us hope for a future. So I'm like, oh wow, okay. So if I pray for the mind of Christ and I'm praying for wisdom, which is what you're praying, I'll also understand that Solomon, the richest man on earth to ever live, the wisest and richest man on earth, when God asked him, hey, what do you want? I'll give you anything you want. And you know why God was going to give Solomon anything he wanted? Because he was succeeding his father on the throne, who was David, the king. David was a legendary king. He was legendary. So how can you come after a legendary kingdom and supersede that?
Mm.
So God was like, listen, I know the position that you're in. It's a tough spot. What do you want? And Solomon did this. He provoked God's heart by saying, Lord, I don't want anything for me. Give me wisdom to lead your people.
That's humility. That's all it is. That's humility. And knowing your own strength too. And knowing you already are anointed, but then being humble enough to say that my anointing is not because of me, it's because of
It's
people.
because of you. So God was like, what? Bro, I literally said, ask for anything, and you're asking for wisdom to lead my people? I'm going to give you this. I'm going to make you the richest man on earth. There's no one ever going to be like you, or no one will ever exist that's like you. You're going to be the wisest man he provoked God's heart with his humility
Right.
to lead the people. So that prayer that you pray, Lord, give me wisdom, That's Solomon's prayer, bro. So what you're doing is you are moving God's heart. You are provoking him to not only make you a wise man, but also make you a wealthy man.
It is because King Solomon is somebody that I study, bro. Because we have to look at, um, I look at looking up to fathers is a big deal. Just because I believe that every son should have a father in their life that's active and is present.
Absolutely.
Something that we have to realize. What do you think King David was teaching King Solomon? You know what I'm saying? Superseding the king,
Mm-hmm.
passing down the torch.
Come
And
on.
just because you don't have to be biological, the torch is being passed every single day somewhere. And we see that kind of now in the real world where we have people like Deion Sanders. He's a great dad, but remember he's a father to many men. He's a great
Yes.
dad, but he's a father to many men. And the representation of a father, which would be God in this instance or Jesus in this instance, is
Mm-hmm.
not really a biological connection. And I don't support when people say like, "Oh, he's only good because his daddy had money or his daddy did this and stuff like that." Well, yeah, his dad also came from his dad. There was a grandfather that maybe came from little, and I think there's a whole phrase I talked about. It was like weak, like during bad times create strong men, and
Yeah.
then during times strong men create weak men.
Weak men.
We see that, and I like to look at that comparison because I go, well, what causes the man to become weak? What is that causation? And it's the you're riding on the coattail of somebody else's work without understanding that your work and your mission is not going to be always the same. And so
Come on.
sometimes people want to be associated with wealth instead of becoming wealthy themselves. They just want to be
Ooh.
around it. And because when they're around it, they want to get the same good feeling, but without rolling up their sleeves and doing the dirty work. Right?
Ah.
Even though Moses parted the sea, the man still had to walk through it. He didn't just part it and say, "Okay, go." That's not what he did. You have to if you're looking for miracle, that's why they're called miracle workers, not miracle
Come on.
believers. You don't believe in miracles, you work to create them.
Come
And then
on.
God will position you in certain places where now that miracle can manifest itself, not the way that you see it, but the way that he sees it. And you have
Clip.
to be humble enough, like King Solomon, to say to yourself, I have everything that I want here, but yet there is something still missing that can provide me that.
Ooh.
And whoever that father person is, you got to be able to listen. And what we start to see now, bro, and I love that, and I'll make this a mini political statement. The moment that Trump became president, all of a sudden God became prevalent everywhere. You started to see
Everywhere.
athletes who were ridiculed for preaching about God. Now they're going out and saying, man, look at Jameis Winston. Right
Come on.
before the football game, he preached the word. Like he said, something on a horse, but yet the Lord is with me. People were like, oh, that's so corny. Like we should. No, but listen to what he just said. That the fact that a man in battle knows that he's got to fight, but he's confident that the Lord's. It's just watching how spirituality is becoming more of an accepted topic and is now publicly outspoken. I can see a lot of young men, especially like myself and you, are now going to be able to find connections and be able to decipher who should they listen to, where's their wisdom coming from. And now, instead of me asking for wealth and for riches and for money, which are results of your actions, let me find wisdom into what my daily habits are by utilizing my journal so that I know that my stuff is tracked, so that my life is tracked. Because at the end of the day, when I have a son and my son asks me, well, Dad, how did you get here? I can give
Check
you the
it out.
blueprint. I can give you the blueprint.
Hey.
That makes me think, bro. You said the Bible's a book of principles.
Yes,
What if it's a blueprint?
it is.
Talk to me.
It
Why?
is. So
Talk to me, bro.
it's just what you were saying. I have 3 points that just came to my head. Right. The word says, "Be not ye hearers only of the word, but be doers of the word, so that you don't
Okay.
end up deceiving yourselves. Because those who
Mm.
only hear to feel good end up deceiving themselves for a moment, and they confuse motivation for execution."
Mm. Yes. Yes. Talk, Karlos. Yes. You're saying it, bro. Keep going, bro. This is you're speaking to me, bro. Because this is exactly what I be trying to articulate. I just never knew how to articulate it. Keep going.
Be not ye hearers of the word only, but be doers of the word, so that you don't deceive yourselves into thinking that what you're hearing is going to cause you to act because you feel momentarily good. So a lot of people
Right.
hear a sermon, a lot of people hear a motivational thing, they hear something, and they feel good. They end up deceiving themselves temporarily. But that doesn't lead to the do part,
Right.
right? And so the Bible tells us do, don't just hear. Because here's the thing. Faith without works is dead.
Exactly.
So the Bible's a blueprint because the Bible is the true inheritance of wealth. It
Come on. But hey, I know, bro. I was listening to Myron Golden. He was talking about this. Like, come on.
bro,
Yeah.
when you leave, listen, when you leave an inheritance, the true inheritance that you want to leave for your children is a trail so that they are able to see what you went through, what you experienced, the principles that you did to lead to that result, right? That's why the Bible is a book that has history, has principles, has teachings, but it has examples because we need examples. So, true inheritance. Oh, I want to leave a legacy. I want to leave a. You hear a lot of people thinking that the legacy that they're gonna leave is money or materialistic things.
Right. Something that they can pass down in the form of paper called a trust. Okay.
Those things rot away. Listen, those things rot away. It's not truly an inheritance if I don't leave you instructions on how to use it.
Mm. Oh my God. Yes, Carlos said, bruh. It's that, bro, because that's exactly. Oh, you're speaking to me because that for so long, I just had a huge epiphany, bro. Because for so long, I've always thought about, yo, I want to build a bag and build a bag and build a bag, but yet the true bag that you're leaving, bro, is the instructions. It's the manual, and it's not the finished product. Like, that's why when you go to IKEA, they don't give you the finished product. They give you the instructions. They give you the materials. So then you can create. And if God made us in his image, the first thing that God tells us about him is that he's a creative.
Come on. Come on.
But then he leaves instructions how to create the life that we want to live by giving us examples on how to follow his lead. And he uses Jesus as an example. And then oh my God. Oh my goodness. Okay. Come on. Talk about it. Talk about it, Carlos. Like, see how everything's connecting, bro. Everything's such a path, bro. That's the let me inheritance. We're talking. I'm just having such a big epiphany clicking moment. I'm like, wait. Oh my goodness. It's no wonder they put Genesis means beginning in Latin.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay,
yes.
continue on the inheritance piece, the instructions. You were saying?
Inheritance. Oh man, that's so good, bro. This is so good. I'm living. I love it. So, true inheritance is instructions. So the fact that you're doing this, that the fact that you're leaving a trail of instructions for your generations, when you're long gone, Aaron Evans will still exist because he left instructions. There may be a child, there may be a grandchild that feels exactly the way you do. Just an outcast, a guy that never fit in, a guy that feels like, he may be failing in life. Because that's how I felt at some point in my life, and I still do at times.
Yeah.
And I know that, God willing, God gives me enough life. And even when I'm no longer on earth anymore, There's gonna be a grandchild that's gonna look exactly like me, that's gonna act exactly like me, and he's gonna feel like, yo, what would grandpa do? Go to YouTube. That's a couple videos that I left for you. Here's my love letter to my generations.
Oh,
My
man.
love letter to my inheritance, to my descendants.
Mm.
Not only did grandpa leave you wealth physically, but he also left you instructions on how to use it and how to go about it, how to keep it, how to multiply it. Because I know what I'm gonna do with it, but I don't know what they're gonna do with it. I don't. It's not about me. It's about who's coming after me. So the Bible is literally God's love letter to His children.
On what to do with the land, and that's why he created man to have king over dominion to multiply. That's the
100%.
instruction that I've inherited. I'm leaving you this land on earth to inherit, and here are my instructions on how to gain and multiply and to love and to give, how to deal with enemies, how to surround yourself with people. Even Jesus had disciples. Man,
Come on.
I remember that joke we made a long time. It's like, yo, Jesus is a P6.
Yes, he is.
Jesus
Hey,
was a P6.
yo.
And man, Jesus was racking up the residuals of his followers. Because at
Yes.
the end of the day, and it's interesting that sometimes the word of God or knowing how your life works or what you're preaching is working,
Yeah.
sometimes a preacher can't preach in their own land.
No.
Yeah. And
No. Hey, go ahead. Go ahead.
it's interesting because sometimes we don't want to hear the message because we get confused by the messenger, right?
Yeah.
And when you spoke about this leaving this inheritance and leaving instructions, and unfortunately, people don't want to study them. But I look at the richest families of the world: the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Horsemans of the earth, the Kennedy family. You got to look at like RFK now is a byproduct of what that Kennedy family left for him. That's why he's here. You are you are a result of generations of instructions and decisions that have been made for you to exist.
Come
That's why
on.
Gary Vee talks about you're a 1 in 1 trillion chance of existing. But when we look at it and we see the results of wealthy families, you don't want to be biblical? Fine. Don't look at the Bible. Study a rich family. Study not a rich family. Study a wealthy family that their last name is still here. Like we're wearing both Adidas, for example.
Yes, sir. Come
Understand
on.
that Adidas split this in half is Adidas, which are last names. We are wearing people's generational wealth on our backs every day, and yet we refuse to study them. We look at them as like, oh, they're just some sleazy billionaires and they're super rich. They don't care about the low class. Well, if you're mad at them, study them. What did they do different? What decisions are they making? Because obviously they're making some kind of decision. A lot of times they're not rooted in faith, which is fine. We understand that there's some very evil families. The Ritchie family who turned into the people don't even know that the Ritchie family turned into the Rothschilds family that ran the banks in Europe, and then JP Morgan is a last name. Bank of America is a last name.
Come on.
We're all rocking last names, but that's
Come
because
on.
of decisions and certain instructions that was left for them. And so we look at it. You want to make it more personable? Look at LeBron James. Do you think he's not leaving instructions for his two sons, Bryce and Bronny, to
Come on.
follow? Do you not think that Shador Sanders and Travis Hunter are listening to the instructions that are given from Deion Sanders? Do you not think that even that either pastors, do you not think that other pastors are not studying other pastors?
Oh,
See
all the
what
time.
instructions they're leaving for their congregation to follow? Let's make it even more deep. What kind of instructions are your mom and dad leaving for you?
Oof.
Are you
Okay.
even following their instruction? And I want you to speak on this, bro. What do we do when we've been handed a blueprint? Let's not even think biblical for a second. Let's just speak life. We've been
Life.
handed a blueprint. hey, don't do these things and you'll keep your job. Hey, if you do this, you'll get fired. Hey, if you don't do these things, you'll end up gaining weight. If you do these things, you'll lose weight. Why
Mm-mm.
do you believe that people will be handed the blueprint, handed the instructions, and still yet not follow it? What do you think that is, bro? Why do you think people are hesitant to follow basic instructions that have been given to them by somebody who's already done it? Why do you think people don't want to follow it?
People love the result and hate the work. Simple as that. They they can't stand the fact that there is an actual principle that I must follow in order to get said results. So this is why many people won't even ever look at the Bible, won't ever look at any other book that's left of principles, because they don't like to do the work. It is natural. It is our flesh. Our flesh is lazy. Our flesh is lustful. Our flesh is a procrastinator. We don't, our flesh, the Bible says, we constantly at war with our flesh. The
Hmm.
spirit and the flesh are constantly at war. The flesh wants to do what it wants to do, and the spirit wants to do what the flesh doesn't want to do. So instructions is a spiritual thing, bro. Because in the beginning was the word. In the beginning, all the way back in Genesis, there was a word. And
Hmm.
the word was God, is God, and will forever be God. Meaning that he had instructions in his mind that he spoke forward to create. So he created with the word spiritual things that become real things.
Hmm. It's so crazy. You know what that sounds like? Manifestation. I'm just saying. It just
Yeah,
sounds like it. Speak
yeah,
things into existence. And that's what he
yes,
technically did.
yeah,
And so you're saying that the war in ourselves, the flesh and the spirit are not, they always in constant battle.
always.
But yet you're alluding to the fact that even when God was creating this environment, he didn't say, oh, the first in the Genesis, the first thing was I'm a build. Let's build. No. Speak. We need to develop the spirit first because the spirit needs to be molded, it needs to be designed, it needs to be
Yes,
capable
yeah,
of convince. I'll say the word convincing, by not convincing, by influencing the flesh to act to act godly based
yes,
on the alignment of the spirit. And
correct.
that's and I think because we don't see success as a spiritual element because of what media and the world is, it's like you can only define success by his material,
That's right.
right? The things made of matter, but the things that are made of matter are not physical; they're spiritual. But
Spiritual.
yet we don't want to dive into that realm because that takes the most work. It's the spiritual development to be able to act in the physical.
Come on. Ooh, you cooking, man. God, God. So in Genesis, yeah, this is good, bro. This is next level stuff right here. You know, whoever's watching this, please pay attention and watch this as many times as you have to. And take notes, please. Like, don't just be hearers. Be a doer by taking notes.
Be do have. Be do
Yes.
become. That's a spiritual. That's oh my gosh. Be is a spiritual step.
Yes.
Becoming something is a spiritual decision that you
Absolutely.
have to commit to. The
Absolutely.
doing is the physical. Notice how you have to be it first before you can do, because there's the battle of the war in the flesh. And so always people believe that, oh, I gotta do more to have more, but you have to become more. You gotta become something. And if you want to allude to all what we just first said in the beginning, when we're praying for wisdom, what are we doing? We're praying to have wisdom so we can make decisions, so we can keep becoming better.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
even if you want to be like this. Jesus didn't want to when Jesus had the cross. I don't remember where this was, But there was a passage that talked about that Jesus did not want to go somewhere. I forgot where it was. I think he had the cross on his back and he had to walk somewhere. And he told God, I don't want to do this thing.
Yeah.
But then God reminds him, you've already become the thing. You are my son. You've already became the man possible to do what I'm asking you to do. Because if you haven't become the man you were supposed, I was never going to ask you to do it in the first place. And I think, Karlos, where we can add to the fact that why don't people follow instructions is because sometimes in those instructions, it doesn't give you the becoming steps. And those instructions are the do. Hey, I need you to do this. Versus, hey, man, you want to be a better trader? You want to be more in the market? I need you to become a robot-like person when studying the charts.
Come on.
I need you to become someone who's detached from money for you to be able to obtain more. But people, especially in trading, even in baseball, bro, I bet you like this. You can almost tell your kids when you're learning, hey, I need you to become that Hall of Famer in your mind.
Oh, yes.
And then I want you to write down what that Hall of Famer will be doing.
That's
what is a Hall of Fame? What is a Trout? What is an Aaron Judge? What is a Shohei Ohtani doing? What are they doing? What do they have to become?
Come on.
And I'll never forget, it was a training, and I think it was either Jalen Goss or Mr. Banks. He said, no, Austin Gotzi, he said this. You want to learn how somebody became rich? Study their captions, not the cap. Study the captions, not the picture. Because the picture is the byproduct of what they've done. The caption is the instructions on what they did.
Oh, that's so good. Oh, that's so good. Oh, wow. Wow. So this is really good because and the Apostle Paul talks about the mind a lot because the mind is our soul. It's our will, our emotions, right? And so the soul is that thing which expresses life. The spirit is the existence of life. The soul expresses life, and the flesh does life.
Okay, it's a three-parter. Hold on. You added a layer to this, bro. Wait. You said the soul is in our mind, and our soul expresses life. Did I hear that right?
Yes.
Our soul expresses life.
Yes.
Our spirit then
is the existence of life.
It's the oh my god.
It's proof.
What other? You know how they talk about the word troubleshooting when it comes to computers?
Uh-huh.
Sometimes the way to troubleshoot your life, you need to recognize the existence of it. And then if you want to take it deeper, you need to the soul and the mind. No wonder. Wait, Karlos, why do you think people always say, why do you think the book is titled Think and Grow Rich? Because if you're saying that the soul is our hold on, I'm trying to connect. If the soul, you're telling me, bro, the Bible says that the soul is the mind, your soul is your what? Soul is what
your expression, the expression of life, the mind, your will, and your emotions.
Because it attached to the higher faculties with Bob Proctor with the will and perception. And then your soul, oh my God, your soul is attached to the will and perception that you view life through. And your spirit is the proof that your life is existing. Jesus. So that's why they always say work on your mindset before the physical, because your mindset has to develop so you can create a better expression of the soul that you are exuding, so that your spirit, so that you can easily accept that you are currently existing within a plethora of time capsules and time spans and time journeys, but yet your existence is based upon the ability to recognize and development of the mind, and your soul is attached. So that when you go out into the physical,
I hope they're following along. Bro.
My head, oh my God. So many things just clicked. And it makes me reflect back, bro, because I know you remember a time when you was deep in your studies.
Yeah.
When you was reading books like crazy. Yeah. Remember, I think me and you were like, bro, I'm gonna read a book every 30 days.
Yep. Psychological books, Think and Grow Rich. by Napoleon Hill. Man, what other ones? Lots of money books, but a lot of psychology and restructuring our mind and telling ourselves what it is. Even David himself told himself, he said, I will make my soul worship you. I command my soul to worship God. Meaning I tell myself what to do because I can. Because sometimes I just don't want to. So repentance. So a lot of people preach repentance, bro. And this is why this new age of leadership, we gonna take over, bro. Because we are living in an intellectual age where information comes and goes. It can no longer be shallow information.
It can't be.
If you're gonna be out there putting a message, you need to be backed up. And you need to have had revelation from God himself on how then to articulate what the people want to hear, what the people need to hear.
Right.
So I'm like, okay. So the soul is the expression of the spirit. The flesh does whatever it wants to do, but I have to command my mind, which is my soul, so that my body follows. Wherever the head goes, the body follows, right? Exactly. We've heard that tons of times. Okay. The spirit is telling me to do something here. My mind is the battleground. That's why Paul says, be not conformed to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Oh, come on. Come on, bro. I'm sorry, I'm so reacting because like for so long, I've always questioned why I was different. I've always questioned why I got made fun of for the way I spoke.
Yeah.
The way I articulated my words. Going to college and being told you don't sound black.
Same.
And it's like, but what does my flesh? Why would you identify me by the flesh?
Come on.
Not the spirit? But you can't, but that takes a level of recognizing this in the soul to be able to see that the spirit is working. And that's where people like, when they have that moment or they're ranting and there's no ahs, there's no ums, and they're just that flow state, but that's the spirit right there, bro. The flesh has completely obliged to the commands of the soul.
Submit.
Yeah. And so I wonder, bro, if you want to do like your soul is here, the spirit is here, and the flesh is with these. And your hands that you use to build is a representation of what your soul and your spirit have aligned your hands to do.
Yes.
And
yes,
the fact with Paul saying that it's don't fall into the conformity, but fall into the transformation of your own mind.
Yes.
That's not something of ego. That is something, I think people would look at that as like, man, that's such an egotistical thing. Why do you have to? But doesn't the Bible say, lean not onto your own understanding? Let's make this very, very clear. Paul didn't ask you to understand. There was no understanding in it. All he was talking about is development. Because the more that you develop, the less that you lean on your own understanding. Because then you have to develop your mind to find understanding through him, through the word. The word will provide you context and examples, but if your mind is not developed, you can't understand the instructions.
You can't.
Come on.
Wow.
And so no wonder the matter or the material that's around you has not been built properly, because the lack of development of the mind, which is attached to your soul, which affects the emotions in your heart, that gives you that adrenaline rush when you feel motivated, that lacks the ability for your hands to build and to create, that God made you as a creative, because he tells you he's a creative. He made you to create, but you can't create with hands unless the mind is developed, so that the spirit and the soul can be aligned, so that the body in the war of your flesh, because you're not fighting your war with this. You're fighting your war with here. So this battleground has to be won in order for your hands to fight the battlefield that's in your material life. And it and it all starts here. And I wanna tie into this, bro, because something else that I think you can attach to and use the Bible for. We talked about examples.
Mm-hmm.
Those examples are visual representations of decisions that somebody made.
Yeah.
In your life, do you find yourself having to either search for examples? Okay, I'll ask you this. Were there
Mm-hmm.
moments in your life that you sought out examples of what you needed to do, or was your more of your visual thing was what God was putting in front of you? How do you deal with the visual aspect? Because what we've been talking about is very internal. I want to
Yes.
talk about the external factors that affect our internal battles.
100%.
So how do we deal with the external so we can be able to manage the internal?
Wow, that's really good. Okay. Okay. So that's like a
That's a
two-part.
loaded question because I know there's a lot that we can go down.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, that's a very very good question. It's a loaded question, but let's break it down. So, I know that the Bible is a book that's broken up into sections, and it leads to life because the spirit is the word, right? And so, okay, I'm like, okay, so it's broken down in different uh, uh, sections and books. That's how it's organized. There is a section called wisdom literature.
Hmm.
That's where you're gonna have Ecclesiastes, Proverbs, right? The Book of Solomon. These books that give you instructions on how to deal with people, but also how to deal internally with yourself according to external factors that may be going on around you. So, for example, when I feel anxious, right, I know that where I have to go look in the Bible's a pharmacy.
Hmm. It's
It's
medicine.
it's a pharmacy. It's not just a pill. I'm not gonna go and take the wrong pill from the wrong section. If I have a headache, I'm not gonna take something from my stomach.
Exactly.
So I go to wisdom literature. How do I deal with people? Okay, how do I deal externally with what's happening and on around me, for example, and I'm feeling anxious? Well, in Ecclesiastes 3, the Bible says there is a time for everything under the sun. I said, okay. There is a time to cry. There is a time to laugh. There is a time to prepare. There is a time to hide. There is a time to. There is literally a time for everything. And until that opportune time shows up, your time is not going to show up.
This is why they say sometimes that like where they or what was it? People will say man, God, why me?
Uh huh.
Or God, why now?
Uh huh.
Is because that Ecclesiastes 3, dude. That
Yep.
anxiousness of like man, that anxiousness
Yep.
is built upon the fact that it's a preparation. God has to position you.
100%.
Continue.
It's positioning. I'm literally just positioning myself for when the opportune time shows up. So when the opportune time shows up, I'm going to be prepared because all I did during the season that I was supposed to be preparing, all I did, and I knew that that was the season for me to prepare. Although there were times and days where I was anxious, there was times and days where I wanted to be out of that preparation season. Like, God, can you just be over with this season already?
Right.
Like, I want to already pop out. I want to already teach. I want to already do X, Y, Z. I want to already have this. He says, no, I have to grow what's in you in order for what's outside of you to grow at the same time. If what's outside of you grows and what's in you doesn't grow, what's outside is going to corrupt what's inside.
And don't and for people who are listening, understand you need to allow yourself to feel this way.
Yes, it
Because
is. Yes.
sometimes and I think us as men, we can speak on men for a little bit.
Come on.
We've been conditioned to not be allowed to feel.
Yeah.
But what we have to understand, you can just use Ecclesiastes, what you just said. You have the right to allow yourself to feel, but maybe the environment to express said feeling is not right here.
Come on.
Like, for a lot of times for me early on, that's where the journaling comes in. Journaling allows me to express my feelings in an environment that's suitable for that time. Or when I wasn't journaling, and a lot of people do this now, and it's a kind of a trendy idea when they come into like, monk mode or Kaizen
Yeah.
or the winter art challenges or the winter art challenges,
Yeah.
75 hard. All of those, you know how all those correlate, Carlos? What those are is areas where you can express your emotion at that time. So when I'm at the gym, if I'm angry, I can translate anger into lifting. I can translate anger into boxing. I can translate frustration into music. I can but what are we doing? Again, creating. We're creating environments to allow us to feel those emotions in a safe environment under the likes of God. But that's all he's asking us to do. He's not asking you to hold it in because the battle in your flesh is already hard enough. So now you want to take those emotions and have your flesh deal with it. When your flesh is already dealing with a whole bunch. Your flesh is dealing with the external factors. It's already dealing with the weather hitting your skin. It's already dealing with your all these Instagram thoughts and girls on your phone to deal with your lust. It's already dealing with the money because you're broke and inflation's bad and you don't have enough money to pay your groceries. It's already dealing with the fact that families are literally getting split in half if you voted for Kamala or for Trump. You're already dealing with the flesh of social media anxiety of, oh, does nobody like my photos and stuff like that. And you expect you to be able to handle, your own internal frustrations? You think the flesh is already dealing with enough? No wonder you're frustrated. And then it goes back to the vicious cycle you said, well, then you become frustrated, and then you become procrastinating, then you procrastinate, then you become lazy. So if we already know that the flesh is lazy, why give your flesh more to deal with? Why do it to yourself? And we're not asking you to look up to God or Jesus or become a Christian. Ask yourself, why are you already giving your body so much to deal with when it's already dealing with a lot and think that you can handle it?
Yes. Oh, that's so good, bro. Oh, God. Man. Oh, I hope I don't know who's listening, bro. But I know this is for somebody. This ain't for everybody, but this is definitely for somebody. So,
the greatest of the greats leave examples, bro. The greatest of the greats continue to leave example.
Inheritance.
It's that inheritance.
Come on.
It's that inheritance, bro. And you lead these steps. Like even Jesus left to go learn.
Yes.
He had to go learn.
Yes, he did.
Solomon had to gain wisdom.
Yes.
Bro, think 100%. About Elon and Microsoft. How do you think these big companies got built, man? Like you be surprised, bro. The only reason that Lamborghini was made because the dude kicked them out of Ferrari. You know? And it's like, well, then look at that. Like you look at it, it's like, you know what? And then that comes back to the fact that sometimes what we think is good for us ain't good for us.
Absolutely not. Lean not on your own understanding.
Why do you think Paul asked us to develop the mind so we don't lean on it?
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And that's the whole point of repentance. See, when a person repents, it's not like how a lot of you'll see religious preachers, they're preaching, oh, repent, 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 but they're not telling you how to. They're just telling you, they're just telling you, just look towards Jesus. Okay, cool. But there are people that require more than that. Because Jesus himself talked about a kingdom that we couldn't see. Jesus didn't talk about himself except saying, I am the way, the life, and the truth. And nobody's going to come to the Father except through me. Besides that, bro, all he would try to teach was how to implement, how to access the kingdom of God, which is upon us right here on earth. It is here. So you can access this invisible kingdom and its riches, its wealth, its benefits through him. But how? Like, okay, through him, okay. But if I don't have the understanding of these things, if I don't study these things, I won't know what I have access to. I won't.
That's man. Even on a spiritual, even on a physical tip, bro. That's why that's all they always said. You got to get your five senses to interact with wealth.
Come
You
on.
got to go to the dealership. And I remember Alex Morton telling us, "Hey man, if you want a dream car, go to that favorite dealership where the car is,
Yes.
sit in
Yeah.
it, do a test
Yes.
drive, smell the
Yep.
seats." Bro,
Yep.
I remember the guy at the Rolls Royce dealership
Mm-hmm.
because it was a Rolls Royce Phantom.
Oh.
And I remember sitting in that Rolls Royce, and I think my ex Shelby took a picture of it, and I had that photo.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I looked around, no one was watching me. Call me weird. Call me weird. I smelt that entire car. I
Ah.
smelt the tires. I smelt the rim. I smelt the seats. I smelt the handle, the joint, everything, the screen, the leather. I smelled it all. And the reason of my smell is because we all know that 80% of your taste comes from smell.
Mm-hmm.
If
Mm-hmm.
I can lead this to smell out the right things, it can taste better. And
Oh
you
God.
yeah, and utilize it. And it's so interesting. What's the furthest point of our face if we do a profile? It's our nose.
Mm.
Our nose is the first plane. If you look at it,
Yeah.
if you look
Yeah.
at it literally, the
Yeah.
most outer point of our body is the nose.
Yes.
Our nose, and there's a reason why it can be pointed in the form of an arrow. It's more
Yes.
triangular. It's
Yes.
pointing in a
Come on.
direction. And so now, if we understand that a way our body is built, if our nose is the most outer point and is the first plane, and
Mm.
my eyes are giving me perception of depth.
Mm-hmm.
It's giving me spacing, and my
Mm-hmm.
nose can be that barrier of that space. There's a reason why our ears are on the sides, because then we need to be mindful of what's around us, and our ears is our surrounding tools.
Mm.
So if we're developing this faith, if we're trying to develop
Wow.
ourselves to find the kingdom, sometimes the kingdom is not going to be heard. Sometimes the kingdom itself is not going to be just seen. You have to use all of the senses at once in tandem with the higher faculties of our mind, which is our soul, to be able to have our spirit in alignment with the kingdom that's not physically there. So you can't rely on your physical body to identify a kingdom that's not physically present. That's why you have to develop your senses in your higher faculties and your soul to be aligned with the spirit, so then Jesus and God can then move the physical body in the environment, so then your spirit can recognize it first. I think. You put, I think.
I
But
think. I like
I
it, bro. Hey,
think that's
listen.
how it works.
That's
But
it's just beautiful. It's beautiful what you're saying, because these these principles that we're applying, that's wisdom. So how you're expressing your wisdom is you're going to the car dealership and you are sitting in it. You are living it before it happens. You're giving your body the experience. You're putting yourself there so that when you do get there, it's not new to you anymore.
mhm.
It's nothing new. Okay, cool. You're giving yourself certainty of that which already exists that I have to yet still create. But if I have a little bit of help and I go experience that before it happens, then that already puts my entire being in that angle towards that. I will crave to want to get to that point again. That smell of that car, I won't stop until I actually smell that car. I will not stop, and that is the principle of faith. See, I didn't know this, but faith is the certainty of that which doesn't exist,
Right.
and the conviction of that which is to come.
And
So I'm
you know the word conviction, bro? You know the word conviction? What
word
other word starts with CONV? Convince.
convict. Ah, man, Something's happening here, E.
It's the tide. If faith, I'm sorry, I cut you off, bro. Continue. You was going.
Nah, you
You
good,
brought
bro.
up faith, and it's the conviction in which to do the actions to build that reality. That
Yes.
means in that conviction, you have to convince the flesh to do what it doesn't want to do.
Yes. Yes. You have to literally be, and you have to be certain of it. Is the certainty of that which is to come, meaning that it's not here yet, but I know it's there.
You
It's
know
not
it's
here yet, but I am convicted and convinced. And that's why you put yourself in that situation, in that car, in that house, because the mind is going to replay what it has already experienced. That's why so many people are always in a down state, because they've had bad experiences. But what if you pre-play the future? What then? What if I tell my mind, hey, this is what's coming. Start preparing for it. And then the preparation how we prepare from point A to point B, which is that type of success in the physical over there, is in that middle is the internal growth that I have to make. That's where self-development comes in. That's where the transformation of the mind comes in. That's where not conforming to the patterns of this world. Because who else is doing that, bro? Who else is going to a car dealership? Who else is going to an open house mansion when we probably have $0 in the bank, but we're over here acting already as if we're gonna buy that home today? It's
and
faith. Jesus always asked, do you believe I can do this for you? Do you believe I can heal you? Because if you don't believe I can heal you, then I'm not going to.
oh,
It's not my level of faith, it's yours. How far you go and how far you get is not just predicated on what you believe about God, but it is also predicated on what you believe about you. You got to see yourself right. You got to see God right, and you got to see yourself right.
that's why we have affirmations.
Yes.
That's why we have affirmations, because we need to affirm to our flesh that this is where we are and this is where we're going. This is
100%.
why you put your goals up on the wall. This is why you put motivational quotes in your bathroom. And I'll never forget this. I was watching Nate Samuel. He put dollar bills on his mirror in his bathroom, and he wrote
100%.
multiple zeros on it. And said,
Yes.
"This $1
I
million."
did that.
Orrin Wright, I'll never forget. He said he bought a fake money gun with fake money and spread it around his room on the floor. And you know what's even crazier, bro?
It works. It works, y'all.
I'll give you an example, bro. I remember passing my first funded challenge. And I think you remember this. It was in 20. It was this year, and it was in June.
Okay.
It was Cortana, and I got my first payout. I have a picture, and I don't know where it is. I took a picture of myself at the ATM with the money in my hand. I got from that payout. And then another picture of me sleeping in my room with the money on the floor around my bed. And I think I have another photo of me sleeping on the floor with the money near my face, around my head.
Yes.
And I said, you know what's so crazy? That said, I said, I cannot wait till I get the next one. I didn't know where it was. I didn't know when the next one was going to come. Because after that payout, I didn't get a single payout from that funded account, because that funded broker, they had regulations came in. They said,
Yes. Yep.
clients.
I remember.
And now, that was in June.
Talk to me.
6 months later.
Yep.
I just passed my another challenge, and I'm about to get a payout for that. And so it's so crazy how life really works. And the thing is, for months, I tried to force the result. Because I believed that I was already developed enough to receive it again.
No.
And so for 6 months, I practiced in demos, in blowing demos funding up an account, blowing it, re-looking at a strategy, buying a fresh notebook, starting from over again. Where am I missing the pieces? What am I missing? It wasn't until, so crazy enough, it wasn't until I told myself, Aaron, you already have the skills of a profitable trader. You need to trust yourself more.
There it is.
You need to trust yourself more. And
Yep.
one of my biggest problems as a trader is I hated going to bed with active trades open. But I told myself, I'll never forget this trade. It was a gold buy. It was sitting at exactly $2,620 was the gold entry. I had 3 entries. I had 4 entries set, and I was going to buy gold for a 250 pip move up to the side to fill up a fair value gap right at 2640 something.
Mm-hmm.
But it was 11 o'clock at night. I needed to go to bed. And I said, my stop loss is in place, which is my safety net. This take profit is set. 2 things are going to happen. Either I wake up and I pass this challenge, or I wake up tomorrow and I go at it again. God bless that I passed. But even if that, and that lesson, watch this. The belief of your skill set is based off of your experiences.
Yes.
Your life is a reflection of your experiences.
Yes.
But in order to manifest a new experience, you might need to place that stop loss. You might need to develop your faith, that foundational barrier at the bottom, so that when the flesh makes a mistake, the faith can catch it. The faith can stop the flesh from continuing in the opposite direction.
Stop loss.
That's your stop loss, is the faith in which you develop. That's the development. Your foundation in life is not based on the experiences. It's the books you read. It's the people you surround yourself with. It's the development of the soul. It's the realization of the spirit. That's where the cycle really stops, is when you decide, I'm not going to keep going through the cycle, but you have to develop that foundation of faith that no matter what is happening, God has your back, 1. And then 2, you got to have faith in yourself that you're developed enough to act out life in the position God put you in. So that when it's time for you to get dividends and profits, you've already been there. You already know how to take. And then guess what? It's not because of greed that you're taking the residuals in your profits. No, it's not off of greed. It's a matter of familiarity. I'm familiar of this experience. But how are you going to build familiarity if you cooped up in the crib? If you're scared to talk to people? How are you going to build familiarity of wealth and riches and leave an inheritance if you're not talking to people who have it?
Jesus.
If you're not surrounding yourself with those who got more than you, who know more than you.
Getting uncomfortable. Come on.
Getting uncomfortable. Because that seek of comfort will lead to destruction. In that comfort, in that conformity, will lead into a life where you're not conscious of what you're doing. And you're leaving a life that you're consciously not doing. You become constant in the wrong spiral.
Lord. There's that pattern that Paul talks about. I heard David Imanitie say that your comfort zone is your broke zone. And in order for you to elevate, you need to be surrounded by people who are already where you want to be, or already have the things that you desire to have. Okay. So if there's a group of 5 people and we're all, as he said, hundredaires, why am I hanging around a little too long here? Why? Is it my own insecurity because I want to feel like I'm the best man here? Or am I willing to get uncomfortable with the millionaires? Willing to be uncomfortable long enough until I am comfortable in my uncomfortability. You gotta be. Ooh.
Go ahead, bro. I can see the wheels are turning. The wheels are turning. I know. Let it rip, bro. Go for it. Get it. Let's do it. Talk.
I gotta go from each quadrant. And they know. They know. I ain't gotta get too much into the quadrants and stuff like that. But I gotta go from that unconscious to being consciously uncomfortable. Yes.
Golly. Yup.
So I gotta be there long enough. I gotta put myself out there. I gotta put myself in front of the camera. I gotta talk to people even though I'm uncomfortable. I gotta build the skill set of a millionaire before I'm a millionaire. Because a millionaire is not who he is outside, it's who he's become. It's becoming. So I have to be around millionaires long enough, be uncomfortable long enough until I become comfortable being uncomfortable. And in that uncomfortability is where my breakthrough is. That's where my breakthrough is. That's why God takes us through the wilderness. The wilderness is an uncomfortable season of our lives that dictate the next seasons of our lives. That's why Israel, when he took them out of Egypt, they were supposed to be there for 4 days, but they were there for 40 years. Because what they had inside, although they were outside of Egypt, they were still slaves inside. So if God brought them to the promised land while they still believed themselves to be slaves, they were gonna make the promised land a new Egypt. So I haven't earned the right yet to hang out with millionaires and multimillionaires. I can sow my way into spending a moment with them.
And all we need is that moment to gain momentum. And all we need is
Yes.
a moment to gain momentum. And
Yeah.
bro, if you look at the word millionaire, the word heir, and I got two comments I want to add to your point because
Come on.
while you said the word millionaire, I said, I wonder if heir in millionaire means something on its own. In heir, check this out. The heir in Irish means the Gaelic word heir, A-I-R-E.
Yeah.
Means watch over or care for.
Oh, wow.
And what's even crazier, it's an heir is a large natural stream of water that is larger than a creek. But then it makes me wonder if heir means to watch over and care for in Irish, then it also means it's a large body of creek of water. When we're talking about millions, a millionaire is somebody who is watching over and is caring for the large body of water, which is currency that flows. Don't you call it really weird, bro, that the Nile River, when we're talking about Egypt, flows north?
Ooh.
All of us in science class, in history class, learned that water flows south. It flows down.
Ooh, hold on now.
But yet the Nile in Egypt is the one that flows up. What do you think? I bet you there was some kind of spiritual connection to the fact that the Nile flowed in that upward direction as a reminder to the Egyptians to always look up. Follow the water. If the water, that air, hey, I'm just trying to. We're making connections because I'm thinking.
We are.
Why is it? And then why is it? Then I always ask, like, why is it that always the biggest countries in the world, the biggest cities in the world, are always by bodies of water? London, San Francisco, Houston, Miami, New York, Shanghai, Tokyo, Indonesia, London. What else? The Netherlands, Portugal, the capital, Lisbon, Rio de Janeiro is literally right by a body of water. And then you got deeper. Why is it the Federal Reserve in the United States and the 12 cities that is in are in 12 cities that are near bodies of water?
Water is life, bro.
It's
Jesus,
that air.
Jesus says, I am the water, and he who is thirsty, come drink of me.
hey, yo, the fact that, bro, there's no, you can, I don't care who you are. You know what? I mean, I do care who you are because I love you. You're watching this. Do you understand that everything is connected? You would be a fool to not accept that everything matters.
Everything.
Everything is connected. And the more that we try to separate, this is what it is. When people look, I'm standing up now because I'm hyped. Because now you got to think, right? Why is it, Karlos? Why is it that people want to detach themselves from the flesh and the spirit so bad? And then we see it now today. What did you say about? You said earlier about the Egyptians is still being slaves, and
Yeah.
even when God took them out of that environment, they were still a slave to this day. No,
Mm-hmm.
why do you think the government wants us to rely on them so bad?
They want slaves.
Why do you think? Why do you think they censor every single person that tells young men to go to the gym and do right?
They want
Why do
slaves.
you? Why do you think these OnlyFans girls are making so much money? They're slaving off of you.
They want slaves.
They want slave. Why do you think that people don't want you to? Oh, hey, if you speak out against COVID, you're a threat to your family. Why is it now that people are like, even now, hey man, if somebody in your family voted for Trump, you should excommunicate them. Or hey, you
They
know
want
what?
slaves.
They want slaves. Oh hey, every single person, everybody in the person in the world that believes in God, oh he's weird. Why do you think that all these artists keep worshiping the devil right in front of your face? They wear the red costumes. Why is it that the devil is one of the number one most bought costumes every year?
They want
We would
slaves.
rather dress up as we would rather more comfortable talking about the devil because we can relate closer to the devil through the flesh. But yet talking to God is a spiritual battle. But you don't want to deal with the spiritual trauma that comes with it. So you want instructions so your flesh can follow. You don't want instructions that your spirit has to abide by. And so you wonder why you're broke. You wonder why people are struggling. I almost said niggas for a second. Why do you think? Why do you think the hood stays the hood? Why do you think the ghetto stays the ghetto? Why do you think the middle class stays middle class? Why do you think even the people of the rich don't even know how to become wealthy? Because the people who are wealthy understand principles. They understand that if I can spiritually keep you in binds, you will always be a slave to my system. And I'm going to use money to build it. Y'all better wake up. Y'all better wake up. When people talk about there's a spiritual warfare, that's exactly how it plays out. That is the warfare. You think it's a money thing. You think it's a power of classes in battling between rich and poor. That's the point. The people who have the money will build systems to keep the middle class blaming the lower class hating the rich, and then everybody's inbreeding and fighting each other. But when somebody comes out and speaks about God, we got to cancel their viewership. Oh, that's weird. And so then they use social media as a way to perpetuate the echo chamber that you already have this self-confirmation bias of. And you wonder why your confirmation bias is off, because you don't want to lack on your critical thinking, but yet it all starts in the mind with Paul. Paul already tells you, if you develop this and this, everything else is father. You got to pray to get wisdom. Stop praying for material, because the material that's around you is a result of what's happening here and here and all the confirmation bias that's happening externally. You don't want to trust your own eyes and know that you're gifted and anointed. You want to believe and get confirmation from everybody else saying that you're a good thing, but yeah, you were already good yourself. And just because you don't have that many followers, just because you don't have thousands of people looking at you because you got big tits or big ass, or you're some tall 6', 6'2", black guy with dreads and a perfect ab six pack, or you're some kind of Italian model that everybody's gonna freaking love you, but yet in your 325-pound body, who's someone who's 5'8", you are gifted more than ever, but yet your lack of decision making is the reason why your physical body looks like that. You'll be so surprised if you just make a simple decision, get your flesh out of the way, get spiritually aligned. You'll be so surprised how many people will naturally flock to you. But yet I'm a conspiracy theorist. But yeah, you think personal development is not going to do anything for you. You don't think that picking up a book like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to dive into your library. You don't want to go in and set up books. You don't want to read books like 1984 or The Traveler's Gift or Good to Be Great. Oh no, you don't want to read those books. Oh, that's cool. Oh, you don't want to sit down and create curriculums so people can follow you. Oh, you don't want to buy journals from Michaels because you believe that this is not going to work. Oh, no, you don't want to buy the whiteboards. You don't want to buy the whiteboards and write down your vision because you think that's weird or you think that's corny or that's not going to make you money. The only reason the way that stuff does make you the money. You're up, Karlos. I'm done.
I think we all need a moment here. I couldn't add anything to that, bro. We need a moment here. Hold on. Woo! Oh, goodness.
Bro, that was the spirit of me. That was the spirit of me, bro. I don't know what happened.
Aaron, what just happened, bro?
I don't know, man. I think it was because I'm so frustrated watching so many good people struggle to realize their anointing. I hate seeing people seek out mentorship, but they don't want to pay for it. I hate when people, they want help and I know that I can help them and they don't want to receive the help. But yet I know that I'm skilled in teaching. I don't want to be a teacher, but I have the ability to articulate vision, the ability to articulate concepts, complex subjects, such as trading and making money in the market and breaking it down and using examples and making the picture make clear. I know I'm gifted in that, but yet it got so frustrating. I get so frustrated because I'm like, man, bro, all you had to do was X, but yet you keep looking at Y and thinking that Y is going to provide you with X. But yet X, I know it's not sexy and I know it's ugly, but X is the dirty work. That shadow work you got to do. And I only speak so passionately because it was after you told me to get close with God, bro, I was having night terrors. I started seeing figures in my room, astral projecting. I was in my dreams. I was controlling my thought. I was in full control. And I'm like, well, how am I controlling all this stuff? And then I did the shadow work. I remember sleeping in my ex's bed when she was at work, and I was literally sitting in a dark room with it was a dark pitch black room, and there was 2 chairs. It was me, and then all of a sudden I see the shadowy figure sit in that chair, and me and him having a conversation. That was my inner shadow. That inner dark workings. People don't want to get that deep into that. And asking yourself, man, but why can't you keep a girl? Why is it every time you get in a relationship, you gain weight? Right? Every time you get into a relationship, why do you think you keep gaining weight? Why do you think your friends keep leaving you every time you date these girls? Why do you think that you're broke all the time? Why do you think you've fallen into porn and lust and stuff? What do you think you're not doing? You've been in trading and network marketing for 4.5 years. You still haven't touched an M. What are you doing? Why haven't you passed your funded challenges yet? Why aren't you a profitable trader right now? But yet you claim to everybody else you can teach anybody else how to trade, but yet you can't even teach yourself how to get a withdrawal. That ain't that kind of realization, y'all. I didn't find that realization through others. I had to sit down with myself. I read the text. I sought out answers. And you'll be surprised, your past will reveal so much to you, but yet you don't want to read it. You don't want to go back. Matter of fact, Karlos.
Jesus.
I'm going to read this.
This is
a journal entry. This is a journal entry I wrote December 4th, 2020.
December 4th, 2020.
COVID.
But
remember, December, this is 1 year after I graduated college.
Okay.
In life, we do crazy things to achieve monumental growth in time. Today, I'm on a plane. Not just any plane, Spirit. Yes, fucking Spirit. Not the most pleasant, but just enough to get to my destination. Come on. Today's destination, Atlanta. I haven't been to Atlanta in so long. I'm beyond excited for this adventure. What's so funny? I'm in the middle seat. Girl on my right and guy on my girl on my right and guy on my left. No, girl on my left, guy on my right. The girl on my left, built, strong black woman heading to ATL to celebrate a cousin's birthday for the weekend. Black and white camel pant jumpsuit, thick thigh, all of it. Cute eyes as well, but what's fascinating, reading Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. Page 72 because I was looking. Haha. But anyway, enjoying that convo, of course. To my right, married now divorced man heading to ATL because of family. Just left a toxic relationship where the girl locked herself in the guest bedroom in the same house. Side note, girl keeps looking, but you know. Anyways, he bought her a trip to Cosmo, Mexico in 2019, Benz and other things I imagined. For him, gratitude is the biggest reasoning for separation, and he actually didn't pull the trigger. She did. Because of his story, I totally understand his story. In life, we meet people and face obstacles that test our faith, levels of gratitude, etc. We must always find the smallest things we are grateful for and learn to appreciate. Even myself at times fail to acknowledge that. ATL is the reset for me and a fresh starting life towards whatever God has in store. Today I'm heading to ATL for the Think With Us 2 convention hosted by Joshua Stewart, C250. I am currently a P600 in my back office with the passion I had in 2018 when I started this amazing opportunity. I know it doesn't make sense right now, but Aaron, you will look back and smile because you took the first step. P.S. Your current Chase balance is $2.13. Good luck today and make the best day you can make it. Bro, I'm not trying to cry, but that's so crazy because I remember that trip so bad, bro. I remember that trip like it was yesterday. I remember that, bro. So crazy now. 4 years ago, almost to the day, we're having a conversation about faith and what it takes and what it really takes. That work, that's 2020. At the height, I'm on a plane in COVID. No one's flying, but I decided to fly. Look at this journal entry, Karlos. June 22nd to 23rd. Today was weird. I was very sleep deprived, and instead of seeing it, I felt it. I got a phone call from Jessica and instantly knew I was tired. No, and instantly she knew I was tired. What the fuck is wrong with you? She told me. I wanted to cry so many tears. I didn't know what I was putting myself through. Later on, I tried to trade on 3 live sessions but didn't win at all. I was struggling mentally and I took 2 more trades and cleared. Slapped myself in the face and said, I know how to trade. You are a beast. But I still felt empty inside. Dark, alone, quiet, distant. I began to question God's grace and plan. But I
What?
decided to eat 2 bowls of cereals, went upstairs, and go to sleep. Fearful I would miss something. Fearful I wasn't productive. I took her words to heart and slept. I closed my eyes, let the tears roll down my face, but it was the best sleep of my life. When I woke up, my body felt empty, but not empty in a bad way, but in a way where I can fill my cup up for the first time in 3 weeks. I ate pasta and drank my kombucha. I took today for me, and what's so crazy, the lesson for today is this. No one can take care of you more than you. Not a single person asked how I felt, what I was dealing with, but I was happy. Happy because I got to take care of me. I did some checkups and mostly stayed to me. Got a call to hang with my girl Wasita and Carolina. The office space where I am writing this letter humbled me. The whiteboards, posters, names show me I have to go harder. More for my family, my team, and to align with all of these thoughts. C250 Brandon Thompson says your vision aligns with the physical pain. My physical pain has been rest today. The physical pain was sleeping on airline floors for 2 days and still closing somebody. And to top it off, I go 0-6 trading, wearing a black shirt, gray sweatpants, and black shoes. But I can go home at 2:33 in the morning and be satisfied, grab some food, and close my eyes and repeat. Remember, Aaron, your physical pain is built for your vision.
Oh, oh,
God. And people don't want to say journaling don't work.
uh,
Inheritance. Hey, son, I heard you're struggling.
here you
Read.
go.
Read.
Man, 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 man. Man, journaling saved our lives, bro. It saved my life. It did. and I see that it's impacted yours in a way where you're able to express yourself and not go crazy.
That's
Like my
beautiful.
heart is beating differently right now, bro. Because even just 4 years ago, which is not that long ago,
22. 22 years ago.
22, 2 years ago,
I'm
even less,
26. I'm 26 now. So that was when I was 22. 4 years ago, I'm 22.
bro.
I'm 26 now, bro. I'm getting older on you, boy.
Hey, look, I'm 28, so I can't say nothing. I can't say nothing, but listen, just 2 years ago, you are able to see how far you've come, bro. Like, even 6 months ago, I'm able to look back at a journal from 6 months ago, and the level at which I was 6 months ago, I'm like, yo, I'm grateful I was there, but I'm blessed I'm here.
Mm.
Which makes me so much more grateful for having gone through that. Because today I can help someone else not go through that.
That inheritance.
I can help someone else articulate what they're going through.
Inheritance.
And when the word says, do not worry about tomorrow, for today has its own troubles.
Inheritance.
Today, tomorrow, Jesus says, if a sparrow who doesn't have a house, doesn't build, is able to find food and shelter, how much more will God do for you? Are you not worth more than a sparrow? And the flowers that they don't spin or toil, are they not clothed? How much more will your heavenly Father do for you?
You know? How much
Hey!
but how much more can he do? You know, it's so but that's where people mess up, then, gang.
Come on.
They ask for more, but they don't
Come
want to
on.
look at the evidence of what's already been done.
Come on.
And that evidence goes back to where we started this whole conversation. That's where the cycle, that cycle, because we keep looking for evidence that hasn't occurred.
Mm.
We keep looking for proof that hasn't become existent. We keep searching
Mm.
for that kingdom we can't see because we
Mm.
rely on the proof of our journey. But the reason why you can't look back at your proof because you don't want to write it down. You don't want to be vulnerable enough to express your current emotion now in something that is non-tangible, which is a journal. Oh, Aaron, I don't know how to write. Well, how do you get better at writing, sis? How do you get better at writing, sir? By writing. Oh, I want to become more closer to God. Well, you have to continue seeking him. There's a consistent effort that your flesh has to make for your flesh to develop. You can develop your spirit all you want to. You can read all the books in the world. You can know the Bible front to cover and still be broke.
Mm.
You can still be struggling. You
Mm.
can have all the Bible. You have all the Bible verses memorized. You got the Bible verse in your bio. You got God all over your bio. You're a spiritual person.
Good.
But yet, you can't find a man or you can't find a girl to suit your needs.
Ah.
Or you don't know how to handle a relationship. You don't know how to communicate to people. You don't know how to have conversations with people who have different perspectives than you. You don't know how to debate. You want people to conform. So what you're really doing is you're leaving your life through bias, not through Christ.
Ooh.
You trying to conform your life based off of a preconceived bias versus living your life through Christ and allowing your bias to position you where God needs you to be. You can't change the world, but you can change the world that's within you. In the world that you create through you creates the image that's out. And let's make it different. Why do you think Pixar is called Pixar? Because what's another word for Pixar? Pixels. Pixels are pictures. Pixels are many pictures within a square graph. And the
Come
more
on.
pixels of your life, the higher quality it is. And sometimes maybe the visual of your life is not because the quality is bad, it's because you haven't paid attention to those individual pictures that affect the quality. You think that you can live an 8K life with a 1080p vision. That's not going to happen. How are you going to live a life that's full of 4K, but yet your development is only worth 720p or 360p? You're not willing to invest into a 4K camera, so you don't want to invest into the tools that get you the better image. Or you don't want to invest in technology or tools to enhance the vision that you've already been given. Because somebody told you that's selfish of you. Somebody told you that, oh, you're being greedy. You're so materialistic. I didn't invest $2,000 in a camera. I invested $2,000 to a camera to paint my vision. I invested money into this platform, into this virtual studio, not because I wanted a virtual studio. It's because I can use the studio to connect. So now my money that I'm making is not because I'm making it for material. I'm making the money so that I can leave that inheritance trail.
Come on.
Moving forward.
Come on.
But in order for me to obtain such material goods and money that's doing that, I have to follow the lead of what Paul said, develop the mind. What did all the good books say? Think and grow rich. The strangest secret by Earl Nightingale is what? That man doesn't think. He doesn't say that man can't work. You have the ability to work, but did you have the ability to think and develop and then act on what you developed? That's why developed pictures are developed in the darkness, not in light. Come on.
As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he.
And the man who usually says he can and the man who usually says he can't are what? Both usually right.
They're true. They're both true. So as a man, Solomon says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. That's the part where you got to see yourself correctly. Not just God. Yes, very important to see God correctly, but do you see you correctly? Second point that came to mind as you were preaching, Bishop AE, write the vision, make it plain on tablets, so that those who see it may run. God told one of his prophets, he said, write the vision down on tablets and make it clear, so that those who see the vision that you wrote can run the play. Third thing that came to mind is he who builds his house on the rock and he who builds his house on sand, both houses look the same until the storm passes through. I'm done. Hey,
yo. If y'all listening to this, bro, y'all notebook should be like 5 pages deep now, because oh my goodness, Karlos, you're always a walking gem, brother. I remember you telling me, bro, like every time I called you, bro, you would have your notes out, because I just be saying stuff. But today, bro, I'm gonna rewatch this for years, because there's gonna be a time, bro, where this is gonna be that inheritance that we leave for our kids.
Yes.
There's gonna be that inheritance where, this is where generational traumas come from. Yes. Generational traumas are not started from what you see now. They started for what they were in the past.
Yes.
In the decision that somebody made.
Yes.
And so I hope everybody listening to this podcast, as we come to a close, I want you to recognize a couple of things that we talked about today. The cycle in which we want to break out of is going to be not a development of your physical. It's going to come from the development of the spiritual. The information that you flood into your mind is directly connected to your soul. And if your soul is the one that expresses your existence and your spiritual is the proof that it lives, then the things that you're doing in the physical is a result of those things. Being able to find external activities to express that emotion at the right time is more vital than not expressing them at all.
Come
The
on.
more the more in which the more in which you're able to become comfortable in uncomfortable situations, that is when your conscious can be that's when your unconscious becomes now conscious. The quicker you become conscious is the easier you can become consistent. And then you can find consistency in the things that are constant. And those that are constant are made true to you, are only made true to those who are recognizing that the kingdom that they are anointed to become is in alignment with the spiritual and the soul that they've manifested. The things that we speak out into existence are not the things that we speak out to existence are going to come to pass. It is those that if we speak things out to existence from gaining wisdom from the right source, our rivers of waters, our airs, which is the water, the things that we are covering can be able to flow upward like the Nile, just like in Egypt. And if things can flow upward, if things are going upward, that means we have to be connected to God. So my lesson for those who are on this call, who have been listening for the entire 1 hour and 50 minutes of value,
Jesus.
giving you a lot to think about. Find 1 to 2 things that you can gather from this conversation and begin to implement it today. Because we all know that the journey begins with the journey. The journey starts with a single step.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yeah.
Karlos, for your closing statement, bro, you've lived a long life. You're gonna be living a longer life.
Amen.
The last time we're not gonna have this conversation.
Oh no, we gonna bring it back.
We're gonna do another one, but based off of your wisdom, your spirituality, and your experiences. What is a lasting message that you want my followers and your followers to leave with as a result of this conversation?
The beginning of wisdom is the fear of the Lord.
Heavy. The beginning of wisdom is the fear of the Lord. Not to become scared of him.
No. And obedience is better than sacrifice.
Wow.
The application of your knowledge is what wisdom is. So when I apply what I learned the correct way, I'm a wise person. When I obey, whether that is to sit still, whether that is to move, I have to understand, and I got to have this fear that delayed obedience is disobedience. Write it down. Write down the vision for you and leave an inheritance for others. This isn't about us. This is about those who are coming after us. And they're going to be so grateful that you existed and that you fulfilled your purpose in this world by pouring out what you had in you. That's my leading statement, my brother.